Hello, I'm Ben, and this is Words in the Wild. Our first story tonight comes from YouTube. Earlier this week, I was doing my, daily YouTube watching, and I came across a channel called Defunctland. I was already very intrigued. Now, defunct means dead, extinct, deceased. And the channel name checks out because the channel just makes a bunch of videos about theme park rides and just theme parks in general that no longer exist and the reasons. Very interesting stuff. I was watching it for hours. Now, for our next story, we're going to Joseph.
This is Joseph Hall reporting for Words in the Wild from my home due to the pandemic. And I was reading the Constitution today, just for fun. And I remembered a couple of interesting terms as I was reading it. So this is going to be a double feature for Words in the Wild. One of them was in Article 1, Section 9. And it says, "The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion the public safety may require it." And habeas corpus is basically a term that says you have to be brought before a court before you can be imprisoned for a crime. So it's basically saying everyone has to be brought before a court before they can be imprisoned, except in cases of war or rebellion. And then the other interesting term I remembered was in the 22nd Amendment, and that basically said, "No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice, and no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of president more than once," blah, blah, blah. It goes on from there. And I remembered there was another word for that, tenure. And tenure basically means it's the period of time for which someone holds a position. So another way this amendment could be rewritten is the president's tenure cannot last more than 10 years. Okay, and those were the two interesting words I noticed in the Constitution.
Hey Mom, I'm Tondalia Delaventamiglia reporting for Words in the Wild. Today I went to Popeyes and ordered a Bonafide Big Box. It was so delicious and I felt so full afterwards. Then I remembered something interesting. Bonafide is a term meaning real or genuine. Since the Bonafide Big Box has so much food in it, I guess you could say it was genuinely a big box. Anyway, off to get severe heartburn.
Hello, this is Squire Sebastian, Senator, reporting for Words in the Wild. Recently, I was thinking about my favorite comic strips and I remembered one called Non Sequitur, and the name got me thinking, why was it called that? Turns out, non sequitur is a term meaning an idea that does not follow logically. Perhaps they named the strip Non Sequitur because every strip had a different time and place that didn't follow from the previous. Or maybe it was some kind of satirical comment on fallacious political viewpoints, like how coconuts are the worst breakfast. Lol, get it? That's a non sequitur.
Thank you, Joseph. For our next story, we're going to France. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy complained about being a victim of slander for over 6 years while president. The definition of slander is a false and defamatory spoken statement. While on trial of charges of corruption, Sarkozy said, "I don't accept any of the slander that has been leveled at me over the past 6 years." He risks a sentence of up to 10 years and a fine of 1 million euros if convicted. Now, we're going to Alyssa for our next stories.
Someone that is usually false and damages their reputation. In The Great Gatsby, Tom and Daisy bring up a rumor that Nick is engaged to a girl out west. Nick then responds, "It's a libel, I'm too poor." He says it's a libel because he doesn't like hearing about it, and it's one of the reasons why he moved west. Empirical means it is derived from experiment and observation rather than theory. In a Lumen article about psychology, it is talking about the different meanings of dreams. In this case, Rosaline Cartwright found empirical evidence that supports her claim that dreams are simply about life events that are important to the dreamer. Pognant is deeply affecting or sharp in taste or smell. In The Great Gatsby, Nick was in New York and he was walking around and noticed young clerks wasting the most poignant moments of the night in life. He's basically saying that they're taking life for granted and aren't appreciating the good parts of life, the simple things. And then in our United States history textbook, contraband is when goods cannot be exported, imported, or in your possession. And in the book, it's talking about how Great Britain blocked Germany's ports. In other words, they were not allowing any goods to be transported or imported to or from Germany.
Thank you, Alyssa. Last Saturday, Sarah Fuller became the first woman to play in a Power 5 football game. She made history, but for some reason, people weren't happy about that. Thousands of tweets and comments were made showing full misogyny and hatred towards Sarah. The definition of misogyny is the hatred of women, and misogyny was clearly present this Saturday, as thousands of men were complaining while sitting on their couch. Next, we have Tessera to present our next stories.
Tessera Anfield here with Words of the Wild. Here, I thought we'd start with the word accredited because it relates to some things that are going on right now. So like student aid, we're a lot of seniors are working on getting that now in their colleges. So if you haven't done that yet, you should be doing that now. And I just found out that you can't usually if the school isn't accredited, then you most likely can't get financial aid from it. As you can see here, if you attend a school that isn't accredited, you might not be able to get any financial aid. And accredited means that it is recognized or authorized school. So if it's not recognized or authorized, then yeah, you're not going to get your financial aid. So keep that in mind. Next thing, and this is from a website from federal student aid. So this is from the United States government. And here's another subject that's going on now. Some people are wondering about the virus and COVID-19 coming together, possibly. It's possible, maybe. There's not enough information, as you can see here. Since there's still unknown about the possible outcomes of concurrent COVID-19 and influenza infection, including disease, pathology, and burden to the healthcare system, research and clinicians believe that the population's adherence to widespread and early flu vaccination, while researchers continue to collect data that will help to mitigate the risk of simultaneous viral infections and epidemics/pandemics. So what they're saying here is there's not a lot of information yet on if it's possible to have COVID and influenza infection or like the flu, but that doesn't mean that you should risk it and just go out and about and not take precautions. So they're still saying you should probably get your flu vaccines and continue with the COVID safety protocols because you don't want both at the same time. That could be really bad. And concurrent means occurring or done at the same time. So you definitely don't want a concurrent flu and COVID at the same time. Don't want that. All right. And this is from a study website from clevelandclinic.org. So next one. This is talking about what is the means of egress from the Bounds Small Business. And currently my basement is like getting redone and we are needing like new windows and stuff, and windows is actually an example of egress. And egress means like basically to go out or leave a place. It's like an exit. So here, a means of egress allows you to get from inside of a property to an exterior point of safety. A form of egress can be either a window or door. A staircase or fire escape can also be part of a means of egress. So yeah, getting the windows, any like thing, a window or door any potential opening from in a building to like leaving a building is gonna be an exit and egress. So yeah, that's what's going on in my basement. Getting a form of egress. And here's another word, impediment. Impediment is a hindrance in doing something. It's like an obstacle. So here, some adults have had speech difficulties since childhood, and the speech difficulty only became a problem when they reached adulthood. Some people might describe this as a speech impediment, and some other things like speech problem or pronunciation problem. But yeah, it's most common known as speech impediment, which just basically means difficulty with speech, like an obstacle, maybe like a stutter, that kind of thing. That's what this is saying. Yeah, if you have any issues with like trouble with speaking, then usually that is called a speech impediment. And those are 4 words in the wild with me. Yeah.
Thank you, Tessera. For our final story tonight, there has been a craze surrounding a monolith being discovered in Utah. The definition of monolithic is massive and rigidly uniform, but it can also mean being formed of a single large block of stone, which is exactly what a monolith is. No one knows why this monolith was placed here, but we do know that it has been taken down and another one has been discovered in Romania. That's it for Words in the Wild. Until next time.